Hey, Gabrielle here. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea why I wanted to work with this book and why I'm inviting you to study this book with me, The Way of Mastery. The first section is called The Way of the Heart. And right now, all the information that I'm getting is that we need to start coming from here and not so much from here. So I wanted to give a few thoughts about why this particular book is interesting, just starting with lesson one. So the way I want to work this is I'm going to go through the book with a Yoga Nidra for each lesson. There are 35 lessons in this part of the book, and it's a spiritual text that when you read the text itself, it raises your vibration naturally. I don't exactly know how that works or why, but I just know it's true. And I've looked around at different books for quite some time, bounced it off different people, and I finally decided this is where I want to go. And lesson one, let's talk about that. Why is this even interesting? Identity and conditioning. So it says here on page 7, the least among you, according to your perception, is equal to the greatest. And there is none among you who is less than I am. This is in alignment with something I'm also interested in right now, which is the Declaration of Independence. Because 1776 is up right now for some of us. Anyway, that's a whole separate subject that I'm interested in, which I may go into elsewhere. But in this series of Yoga Nidras, for each lesson, I think maybe it makes sense. At first I was just going to present the Yoga Nidra, but I think it makes sense to actually talk about the material and maybe do something have a live discussion if people are interested. I am also interested in this idea that the least among you is equal to the greatest, meaning that there is no difference, that everyone is a child of God, that God don't make junk, that no matter what you've experienced or who's betrayed you or how much suffering you've had or how much loss or how abused you've become and how that may have diminished your sense of value and self-worth and identity as a person. It's all from the ego point of view. And so when you can learn to tap into this higher perception, you realize that that's all just not true. The other thing I would say about this is that I have been saying for at least 10, possibly 15 years, that I believe the evolution of consciousness is that people work for themselves, and it's been confirmed again and again. Most recently, in the last 2.5 years, I've been working a couple days a week in a chiropractic context, in a physical therapy context, and no disrespect to the employers at all. But the way any employment situation where there's a company and you're working for the company, you're never going to have a peer-to-peer relationship because the patriarchy is a part of how a hierarchy is organized, right? So if you want to exit the patriarchy, the evolution of human consciousness is that we work together as peers. And that's another reason why I think this lesson is so important, because we've been so conditioned from birth to think that some people are better than others and that it's up my job to judge you and whether or not you're doing a good job or to people please in a work situation, and to find I recently realized that my whole identity has been reliant upon helping other people, and that's a good motive, but it's hollow. It's not enough. It's not enough to just want to help people, because some people don't want to be helped. When you try to help people who don't want help, whoa, watch out. You get stepped on the foot, shot in the back, and your nose punched. So, you have to learn to have boundaries around those things. But on a deeper level or a higher level, like there is no deeper or higher. That's why I like this discussion of vibration. It's a different vibration. It's a different frequency. It's not better. It's not worse. It's a different way of perceiving. It takes you from living from the ego, which is often living from the lower brainstem, from monkey mind, to living from a more expansive consciousness, an awareness of the unified consciousness. Even Jung talked about this, the common bond that we all share is that at the level of consciousness, we have these knowings, these understandings. And so this is about not trying to function just from the level of intellect, since we're being brainwashed that information is the only thing that's important, but this is about learning to function from the level of intuition, consciousness, and heart. Heart is somehow how you access consciousness in some ways. So anyway, I think that'll do it for now. Just to kick off the discussion, and I've already recorded the first Yoga Nidra on lesson 1, which you can find under, I think it's called Yoga Nidra, The Way of the Heart, lesson 1. Surprise, surprise. And I think if you read this book, you'll find it shifts your energy just by reading it. It's published by Shanti Christo Foundation. It's a channeled work. The Way of Mastery is the title of the book. The first part is The Way of the Heart. And maybe I can leave you with a quote, perhaps. Let's see. Your intellect does not know anything except the trivialities that you have shoved into it. The intellect can never bring the healing of the heart. It can only be utilized to argue against the insane perceptions that you're used to. Now that sounds familiar, yes? Therefore, indeed, beloved friends, dance, rejoice, and play often. These lessons bring up every thought of scarcity, every sense of unworthiness, and every fear. But if you accept where you are and do not pretend to be otherwise, it allows you to be embodied consciousness. This is why this resonates for me, because I'm all about teaching embodiment, teaching awareness through movement, teaching awareness through Yoga Nidra, which translates as sleeping, conscious sleeping. So the book goes on to say, I would ask you close your eyes for just a moment, take a deep breath, and breathe into the body. And just let it go. And as the breath leaves the body, hold the thought that there is nothing worth holding on to any longer that keeps your peace and happiness at arm's length. Become committed to the experience of happiness. Even as you have been fully committed to unhappiness, limitation, and lack. Give your Creator full permission to sweep the basement clean. There's really nothing down there worth defending or protecting.